Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back, I'm not going anywhere. You know I am real wired up. Speaking of phones, I'm about to talk about phones. You know I'm real wired up if I do 2 rant videos in one day. Well, actually I wouldn't say I'm real wired up. I got lots to say today. See, I always have lots to say, but today I have especially lots to say. Let me tell you my number 1 complaint for the day. Okay, my complaint for the day is this. Do you have, okay, in general, I cannot stand when people call you and you miss their call because you like ran into the gas station or you're pumping your gas or you just weren't on your phone for 2 seconds and you're always on your phone. I mean, we have become a generation of cell phones. Like, we are always on our phones. Would you admit to that? I mean, this is the truth of the nature, okay? It just is. But what drives me crazy is when you call that person back and they don't answer. And you know, okay, that they like literally just called you. You look at the time and it's been like, oh, it's like 4:24, now it's like 4:25. And you're like, you just called me 60 seconds ago. Like, how could you possibly be gone? That's my number 1 complaint. My number 2 complaint is when it's like your best Judy. Yes, Tanya, this goes out to you. I cannot stand when my best Judy sits on her phone 24 hours a day like this, up on the Facebook, constantly up on the Facebook. She loves that Facebook so much, my lord. Who cares so much about what everybody in the world's doing, their political opinions and their babies' pictures and all that kind of. She's always like, oh my God, did you see this? Oh, Sally Joe, she has the cutest grandbaby in the whole entire world. I'm like, Tanya, I don't even know who Sally Joe is. She's just always just roll it. We'll like get out of our car to go and get a fountain pop in the gas station and she'll be like on Facebook and then she puts her phone down, we come back out and the first thing she does is pick it up and get on Facebook. I'm like, girl, what happened in the last 30 seconds that you weren't on the Facebook? Back in the day, Tanya never had anything. She didn't even know how to use her smartphone or anything. She's like, I'll never be on the Facebook. The other night it was so funny because usually when I say to her, I'm like, girl, I'm like, you are always on that Facebook. She's like, no, I'm not. You're always on social media, which is true, so I can't say anything, right? I mean, I can, but I don't want to get into a fight with my good Judy. You just don't want to get in fights with your good Judy. But that's beside the point. But anyway, I said to her, I said, girl, you are always up on the Facebook. And she said, I love the Facebook. I said, well, at least you owned your truth this time. But anyway, what I can't stand is when somebody calls you or texts you and they are always on their phone. Do you know what I mean? Like, their umbilical cord is attached to their friggin' cell phone. They are on their cell phone 24 hours a day, and you call them, or you, like, not if you just call them out of the blue, maybe they're up in a concert or a restaurant or having romance or something. Having romance translates to you know what, but we don't talk about that because it's a family-friendly channel. Okay, so maybe they're having romance or something, they can't talk to you right now, right? Although I have had several friends of mine that romance is so bad that they just pick up the phone anyway, but anyway, that's beside the point. But what I hate is when you have that good Judy that you know, like, is on their phone all the time, or especially if they just posted something on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, and you call them, and they don't pick up the phone, and you're like, seriously? Now, I see what you're doing, right? I'm stalking you as we speak, and you're not going to answer your phone. You're like, who? What? Oh. And then later you call them on it, and you go, you never pick up my calls. I always pick up your calls. No, you don't. The other day you posted an Instagram picture, I saw it, and I was trying to call you back, and you didn't pick up the phone. And you're like, and then they're like, oh no, I don't even know what you're talking about. And then you want to like prove it to them, and then all of a sudden you realize you're having the most ridiculous conversation in the entire world with your best friend, who still won't pick up your phone call even if you have this conversation, right? And then it makes you wonder, like, why don't they want to talk to me? But they called you first! It's lunacy. It's absolute lunacy. The other thing I can't stand is this. When you have like some serious business to do, like call AT&T or Comcast, the cable company, those two are the absolute worst. Don't even get me started on the IRS and having to call the IRS to deal with any kind of tax question whatsoever and have to push 19 buttons to even get to maybe the right section where maybe you might talk to somebody. But this is what kills me, right? So you're like in a hurry and you have an appointment in like an hour and 15 minutes, right? You know, like, I have enough time to make this call. I can do it while I'm in my car. I can get everything settled. I can take care of business. And you get on that phone call and this is what they say to you. Hold on, I gotta fix my studio. And you get on the phone call and this is what you hear. You have it on speakerphone, and you're sitting in your car, and you have it just sitting down over there because you're like, I know I'm going to have to wait, right? And they say, due to the overflow of traffic in our phone calls right now, the average wait per phone call is 9 hours and 46 minutes. And you're like, oh my God! Have you ever waited on a phone call because they'll say the average phone call is like 32 minutes, and you're like, I have to take care of this, so I'll just wait on the phone until like the phone call comes through. 32 minutes, I still have 45 minutes to get to my thing. And then it's like at 32 minutes, they're still not there. At 33, they're not there. And then you're checking. You're like, oh my God, it's been 34 minutes. They said 32, it's been 34. They're still not picking up the phone call. Why are they not picking up the phone call? It drives me nuts, right? And then in between, they play these stupid ads. And if you call like Comcast or Xfinity or one of those cable companies, it's always, you're bitching about your poor service, and they're trying to sell you service. It's the same ad over and over and over and over and over and over for 32 minutes, right? And they want to sell you something like Chinese TV channel or something, and you're like, I don't need Chinese TV channel. Hell, we got 15 channels of Telemundo for Alex's grandma, and she only comes over once every 6 months anyway. So why do we even have that? And I'm calling to get rid of that, and you're trying to sell me Chinese TV channel. And then finally, at 45 minutes or 50 minutes, right, you get the gal on the phone, and she's bitter as all shit, right? Because she is sat, poor thing, it's not her fault that they are, you know, understaffed at the AT&T or the Comcast or whatever, but she's pissed, right? She's ready to get home and have a good scotch and soda and a bologna sandwich, okay? She's ready. Like, she's had the day, she's ready to go home. Maybe watch her some Grace and Frankie or something like that. So she is pissed, right? And you get her on the phone, and you're like, you're wired and she's wired, and you're like, yeah, well, listen, I'm calling because, and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, well, I can't help you with that. I'm going to have to put you over through. I'm like, no, please do not get off the phone with me, because if I get off the phone with you, I won't get somebody else. And she's like, well, I can't really help you with that with my manager. And don't ever ask for the manager, okay? I have asked for the manager so many times, and they end up putting you through to somebody that says they're the manager, but they're not really the manager, because if you talk to them long enough, what they'll say is, well, I'm the manager of this department, which basically means they see over 4 people. I mean, I feel bad for these customer service people, because I am sure that they deal with bullshit all day long. I am sure they do, okay? God love them. But listen, if they do not help you that moment, you are screwed, because they'll say, well, let me put you through to, and then you're like, okay, I've done this so many times, and the phone gets disconnected. How many times have you done that? Where they're like, let me put you through to this department, they can help you over there, and you're like, okay, and then it gets disconnected, and you're like, 34 more minutes of holding, and then you call back and they go, due to the fluctuation in a large number of callers right now, the average wait per customer is 42 minutes. And you're like, what the frig? How did it go up 10 minutes? I don't understand this. We were better when we just had dial-up rotary phones, seriously. Listen. We don't have a landline phone, because now what they want to do, this is the other thing that kills me too. Nobody wants a landline phone. There's no reason to have a landline phone. The only people that have landline phones are over 60, because they just don't want to get rid of it. I had such a hard time getting rid of my landline phone because it was my mother's phone number, and I thought, this is what I thought. Well, what if somebody that doesn't know that she's passed away calls, and then they don't know her other number? That I don't know what to, you know, I was just like, they'll never know that she passed away, and like nobody's ever called. Like, I had that landline up for a year. Not one person called that landline. No bill collectors, nobody. So I finally got rid of it, right? Then, if you call Comcast or AT&T or whatever, and you want to cheapen your bill, have you guys done this? Like, when you want to get cheaper cable, and the first thing they offer you is, well, if you get a landline, we can offer you $75. What? So I have to get a landline for $75 less a month? Okay, so we're sitting there watching TV the other day, because Alex called and took care of it. I said, listen, I cannot do it. This thing throws me into an anxiety attack. I have a nervous breakdown, even trying to call these people. They drive me nuts. I cannot do it, right? Oh, I cannot do it. And insurance companies, do not get me started on insurance companies. They are the absolute... I know we're family friendly, but insurance companies are total fuckery, okay? Total. So anyway, I can't even get started with that. So Alex called and he got our cable bill taken down, right? I was very, very happy with it. We're sitting there watching TV the other night, and all of a sudden it says incoming call on our TV with this number, and I go, what is that? And he goes, what do you mean? And I go, what is that? It says incoming call. Incoming call to what? Is that your cell phone? Is that my cell phone? He goes, no, it's our landline. I go, we have a landline? He goes, yeah, we had to get a landline for this. And I go, well, who's calling us? I don't know who that person is. We don't even have a phone connected. He goes, it's just probably, it doesn't really matter. And I go, somebody's trying to get a hold of me and I don't even know who it is. He goes, our number isn't even listed, Peter. It has nothing to do with us. It's just, we just got the landline so we can get the cheaper service. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. What has gone wrong with this world? Then I remember, this is what I don't understand now. Listen, I even got my iPad here so I can prove it. When I first got my very first cell phone, I was so excited. My good friend Craig and I back in the day, we both got cell phones on the same day. We both got those Nokia Charlie's Angels phones, and he got blue and I got red. Do you remember those little small phones? Oh my God, I loved it so much. We thought we were Charlie's Angels. And I called him and I go, oh, you know, girl, we got cell phones. He's like, oh, we got cell phones. We were so excited, right? It was years ago. And so anyway, but let me just tell you what's happened is that cell phones got smaller and smaller and smaller, and then they started getting larger and larger and larger again. And now look, this is... Do I have anything on my phone I don't want to show you? Now look, this is new cell phones. My friend Tanya, true story, here's her phone. She's like this, hello? I can't hear you. Let me put you on my Bluetooth. Oh, that's another thing, okay? This is what kills me, is people that have to be on their Bluetooths all the time. I don't understand what those things are, those half necklaces that people wear around there, and they talk. It's like they talk in like the post office, and they talk in the Walmart, and you don't know if they're talking to you or who they're talking to. I cannot stand that Bluetooth thing, right? But my husband, my best friend Tanya, everybody that I know in my life gets in their car, and they're like, let me hook you up to Bluetooth, okay? This drives me nuts every time they do it. And I'll go, hey, what are you doing? And this is what I hear. Hey, what are you doing? And they're going, not much. And then I go, oh, well, do you want to go get a fountain Coke? Do you want to go get a fountain Coke? And I'm like, Tanya, like, it's echoing back. No, it's not. Oh, it's not. Or I'm like, it's echoing back. It's echoing back. And she goes, no, it's not. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, both Alex and Tanya I have this conversation with, and they tell me that I'm the only one that it happens to. How can that be possible? That every person that has Bluetooth echoes back. I can't stand that. Okay, and I understand that you don't want to be like on the phone while you're driving, and yes, that's very safe. Hey, listen, I appreciate it, okay? Safety comes first, always. But maybe you don't need to make a phone call while you're driving, you know? Like, think about it. Because it's annoying as shit to me when that bounces, and then I don't even want to have the conversation. Then Tanya's like, well, what's wrong? You act like you don't want to talk on the phone. And I'm like, well, I don't want to talk on the phone. Well, I don't want to talk on the phone. And she's like, well, why not? And I'm like, because you're echoing back. I'm echoing back because I'm echoing back. And she's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, yes, I am. Yes, it's too much. It's too much, okay? I like simplicity. That's what I like. I like simplicity, and all this phone stuff just drives me crazy. Do you guys relate to any of this? Do you have these kind of issues with the phone things? Do you have the good Judy that sits there on her phone 24 hours a day, but when you call, she doesn't pick it up? And I just called her, and she hasn't called me back yet. She'll be like, well, I had to go into the, and then she never takes her phone into stores. I'm like, why don't you take your phone into stores? She's like, well, I don't need my phone while I'm in the store. Well, I'm like, well, what if I call you? Psh. Well, I could have gone to the store with, and then she'll say, well, why didn't you stop by the house? And I'll say, well, I called you, didn't answer your phone. She'll say, oh. All of it cracks me up just too much. We have become that world, haven't we? We are just dominated by cell phones. It's craziness. Anyway, I feel much better now that I've gotten that out. I can breathe easy. I'm ready to make some phone calls, so I will talk to you later. Bye.